Hope that fucking thing is in focus. Do-Rag Wisdom here, folks, and welcome to Earth Day Y2K 19.02.21. Gathering intel on the Cheeto, hair monster Trump. USA, enemy, main enemy of the people, enemy of every living thing on this planet. So how do we do that? How do we solve the problem of the sociopath? How do we fight this thing? What are some of the rules? What are some of the characteristics? Some of the things to remember? Well, I got something from Brian Kenny. If you're out there, Brian, thank you. On gaslighting. Yes, these fascists or quote communist dictators, whatever you want to call them, right or left, whatever they are, like totalitarians, rely on this gaslighting, on making us believe that we're crazy, that we're not thinking correctly. And, along with this, they use those Orwellian techniques that he introduced to us in 1984. The principles of the party, the tenets of the Ingsoc philosophy, political philosophy, where you have the revision of history, doublethink, and newspeak. This creep wants to make us think, and his party wants us to make us think that we're all nuts, that the Great Recession never really happened because of them. Back to Brian. So this gaslighting that he mentioned is one of these things that these dictators use to make us, we're the crazy ones. You have to see the movie where, that they made a whole movie based on gaslighting. I think it was Charles Boyer and Ingrid Bergman. If you have a chance, see that movie. And you understand that what these dictators do, and what Trump is trying to do, what this GOP is trying to do, is to revise history. We can't allow them to do that. And when Brian brought up gaslighting, that's what they do. What you didn't remember? You remember this, you remember that, you remember this the wrong way, you remember that the right way. Gaslighting. Thank you, Brian. And then we have Falling Galaxy. And Fallen Galaxy mentioned the narcissism. And one of the characteristics of these creeps, these sociopathic creeps, is this their self-love, the narcissism. And a narcissist doesn't care anything for anybody else. And people have to understand that. And I've lived I've lived alongside Trump, quote unquote, as I've been a resident of New York City for over 40-something years. So I know all about this creep and how he thinks and what it's all about for him. So it's always been what's best for him. And the fact that anyone would fall for him, that's for another broadcast. But Fallen Galaxy, I want to thank you for your take on what we can do to recognize how to fight this creep. We have to remember that this vampire doesn't care about us. No matter what he says, he's gaslighting us, as Brian says, and he loves himself so much, whatever he says, it's a lie. It's all about himself. And I have to remind everybody to please read 1984. It's like a handbook on how to recognize totalitarian crap. And I really want you to, if you can, read it. Or at least get Cliff Notes. Here's some questions. And what enables these dictators? We live in a free, constitutional, democratic republic. Unfortunately, this republic that we have has a dark side. And it always has. And it has to do, unfortunately, with the fundamental problem, the naked ape situation of rich versus poor. And you look at our country and the problems that we're facing today, it has to do with that idea of rich versus poor. And that's the Electoral College problem, and among others. Now here are some questions we should think of, the enabling questions, which enables this kind of dictatorship. We can't have this in our free, open, democratic republic under siege, constitutional democratic republic under siege. Why are partisan presidents allowed to pick partisan justices? Why are these partisan justices allowed lifetime tenure? How is this the separation of powers? Why isn't Election Day a national holiday? Why is Cheeto hair monster Trump allowed to abuse Twitter? Why do we still have a so-called electoral college? What are the purposes of so-called superdelegates? Will the Justice Department under Trumpian rule enable the blocking of the Mueller report from public viewing? Why is there a double standard for Republican Trumpists versus Democrats that favor the Republicans' bad behavior? Why did we allow the Supreme Court to mess with the Voting Rights Act? And why did we allow them to put big money into our elections through a Citizens United, where corporations are people too? Just some things to think about that enable dictatorships. Because freedom can slip through your fingers like you can't believe. Don't let these Trumputin goons use the word traitor. That is Orwellian doublethink. Because at its roots, Trump, whether wittingly or unwittingly, worked for the nefarious purposes of Putin. If anything, Trump is the traitor, and he knows it. And remember when the racist, the fiend, the parasite, the malignant tumor, the curse, the birther bastard, the liar, the traitor, the terrorist, the mobster, and the Cheeto hair monster Trump says that he inherited a mess? Can't believe it. He's sitting there, I inherited a mess. This is Orwellian revision of history. Just remember the mess Obama inherited when he came into office. The mess, especially by a GOP-engendered Great Recession. There was not one presidential scandal during the entire 8 years of the Obama administration, warts and all, because no human being is perfect. Again, it is GOP Orwellian revision of history that spews from Trump's fascist mouth. Imagine if Barack Obama was in office now. And keep in mind when he really was. If Obama did even half of what this hair monster Trump is doing to us now, even just half, we'd never hear an end to the shrieking GOP teabagger sewer. And Obama would have been impeached months ago. What the hell is going on here?